Are we ready?
You ready?
Okay. Go. Hello, Marco and Jenna. I'm Harsha here,
I'm Nikhil Arabadi.
I'm Arvind Salem.
And my name's Ishan Sid.
and we're here today with Certified Financial Planner to focus on propelling your financial future. Today, we have a flow of discussion and our 5-step planning process in order to address each component of your finances. First of all, we will be covering your debt and your credit cards. Next, we will be covering insurance and PMI. Next, we will be covering retirement, taxes, and finally consolidating all that into a final budget. For our overview, we see that you, Marco, have had 10 years of experience as a software engineer, and you make about $95,000 a year. As for you, Jenna, you've been an administrative assistant for a while. You make about $50,000 a year, and both of you have credit scores in the 700s range, which sets us up really well for our goals here today. Before that, we see that you have Luna and Nico, who are 8 and 5 years old respectively, so we will need to establish a college savings plan for that as well. We will be getting a balanced budget here today, having mortgage debt, managing that debt, retirement age, determining that, and finally, moving on to the goal of buying a camper. As for our current situation here, we have the monthly balance sheet here for 2023 are projected. We can see that the major costs are housing, food, and transportations. This accounts for more than half of your monthly expenses, and in order to fulfill the 50-30-20 rule, we need to ensure that we allocate more towards your savings and wants, as we will see later down here in the budget.
So the first thing we're going to talk about today is debt. So in debt, the first thing we want to cover is your credit card debt. Now, credit card debt is the most important part of your debt because it has such a high interest rate. Currently, you have around $15,000 in credit card debt, and you have to make minimum payments of $450 every single month. Now, these minimum payments can range for a long time, as you can see there, ranging from 100 up to 300 months, and will stick with you for a while. Now, with all these monthly payments and just paying the minimum, you're gonna end up with a total interest of around $26,500 on top of your balance. Not only will you pay your balance on top of that $26,500, which is why it's essential for us to eradicate this as fast as possible. So in order to accomplish this, what we've decided to do is go under a credit card consolidation. So one great thing about you guys, you have really high credit scores, 710, 730. So you can apply for a certain credit card, like this one from Wells Fargo, which your credit score fits into, and you get a 0% APR for the first 15 months. So for the first 15 months, you're gonna have 0% APR, so you can consolidate all of your credit cards debt onto this one credit card and pay 0% interest on it for those first 15 months. Over the 15 months, we're slowly gonna pay it back, and as you see there, you have to pay a 3% balance transfer fee on top of that. So it's an additional $500, unfortunately. However, that's significantly less than the amount of interest you would be paying if you decided to just pay it off normally on all those credit cards. So next up is your housing. I know you had some questions about your housing, specifically related to PMI, which stands for Private Mortgage Insurance. So what PMI is essentially it's insurance for the banks on your mortgage. So if you have less than 20% equity in the house, you paid back less than 20%, own less than 20% of the house, then the bank wants some type of insurance to make sure that you don't default and then they lose all of their money. So as soon as you reach the 20% amount, then you no longer have to be paying PMI. Currently you have 18% equity, which means you're very close to reaching the amount where you don't have to pay it. So very soon you're not gonna have to pay those $155 PMI bills.
Now, another heavy source of debt for you guys is Marco's $18,000 student loan debt, which is currently a monthly payment of $302 with an interest rate of 5.6%. And we have 3 repayment plan options: graduated, standard, and income contingent. The graduated repayment plan is when payments start low and gradually increase over time, and this is good for people with steady income growth. A standard repayment plan is a fixed monthly payment with a specific number of years, which is usually 10, and this is good for paying your loans off quickly, and this is good for people who have generally high incomes. And the income contingent repayment plan is where monthly payments are determined by income, family size, loan amount, and interest rate, and individuals with lower irregular income. However, in this situation, we don't recommend any of these options because adding interest onto interest is at the end of the day not reliable in any sort of way. In terms of your children's savings plan, we have the MET and MESP. What the MET is the Michigan Educational Trust, which is a prepaid tuition program, which locks in tuition costs for your any type of community college or for your public university. Now, for Luna, when payments start in 4th grade, she'll pay a monthly fee of $595. And for Nico, this will be $573. We will start this after your debt has been completely relieved from your credit cards. And what this does is it completely covers their tuition costs. However, it only applies for in-state public universities. For the MESP, which is the Michigan Educational Savings Program, this is a tax-advantaged savings plan for future education expenses. This does not only cover tuition. This covers a variety, which could include books and housing. And this is good because when you withdraw from this account, you don't pay any taxes on it, which is very useful. Now, in terms of your transportation debt, Marco has $49,276 on a debt on his 2023 Ford Bronco after just 4 payments, and the interest on this loan is 7.75%. Paying off this debt will require a significant portion of Marco's income, which at the end of the day is very unreliable, and we need to get rid of this car and find a new one. This new car is a 2022 used Jeep Renegade Latitude with 16,000 miles already on it. The cost is $25,000 with $2,500 down on it, and the monthly payment is $449. This is much more reliable than Marco's old Bronco, and it's a much more safe option that still has the same level of utility. Now, for Jenna's transportation debt, we have her old 2021 Ford F-150 XLT with already 4,000 miles over their monthly mileage, and this is a $600 fine. So it's better to turn this car in and pay these fines as soon as possible so that they don't further increase. And a better option for her is a 2015 Kia Forte LX with 40,000 miles on it already. The cost of this is much cheaper with $14,000. With the $14,000 being the total cost of the car, and the monthly payment is a measly amount of $285 with 10.95% APR, with the down payment being $1,500. Now, this brings down their total monthly car payments from $1,728 to $734, a 58% decrease. However, when selling the old cars, there's a certain amount of money lost when we sell the Bronco because Kelly Blue Book rates decrease it by around $9,000. So our plan to get rid of this $9,000 is to take a 401k loan in which we're increasing the money in the 401k by paying interest on it, and we still have the ability to pay half of it off with that other option. The next, with the rest of the $4,500, we're going to put that on the 0% APR credit card, which is going to be very useful for us. Now, for insurance. For your auto insurance, we have the total car insurance combined will be $960 every 6 months, which is a 43% decrease in auto insurance because the price of your cars has decreased so drastically.
Now, moving on from auto insurance and into health insurance, specifically utilizing the health savings account. Now, you absolutely should be enrolled in a health savings account, and a common reason I see from clients, not just you guys, onto why you guys don't want to go into an HSA is that many people believe that that money is forfeited at the end of the year. That's actually not true. That money is actually not forfeited at the end of the year, and those balances carry over indefinitely, and that can even include after death. Now, the benefits of an HSA are that it actually earns interest depending on the money in the account. That's from 0.1 to 0.7% a year. And you can withdraw that tax-free if you use it for health expenses. So that's why it's best used in combination with our high deductible plan, because the insurance company is charging a lower price for that high deductible plan, but you can actually pay off that deductible using funds from the HSA and withdrawing that tax-free. Now, moving on to retirement, which is extremely important, and every single family should plan for when they want to retire. Now, you are eligible for full Social Security benefits at 67, and in today's money, that would net you $60,900, roughly $61,000 per year. You're eligible for Medicare at 65, and you would get premium-free Part A because of the taxes that you've been paying into the system. And Part B would cost you $174, roughly $175. That covers valuable outpatient care, while Part A only covers inpatient care. We recommend buying Part B because especially later in life, a lot of more complicated health issues can require that outpatient care that Part B covers, and it's definitely worth it from that perspective. Now, Jenna, you were curious about a defined benefit, and what that is essentially a pension plan. It's much less common today, but it's just a set pension plan that's paid out at retirement. So most pension plans are contributed by the employer as kind of a benefit or a substitute for the more common 401ks and other accounts that we see today. And the employer is going to contribute 8% of your income into that plan. Now, that means when you retire, just looking at the principal that amount earns, that's $172,000 in total lump sum. And if you retire at 67, like we'll recommend, and you live till 80, which is roughly life expectancy, the average life expectancy, that's 13 years, netting you around $13,000 per year for the rest of your life through that defined benefit. Now, looking at your retirement accounts, currently you are not contributing to the Roth IRA. We would recommend that. That comes out in your after-tax income, so it might not seem very beneficial, but you can withdraw that tax-free after 59 and a half years old. And that earns on average 7 to 10% annual interest, depending on the funds that are behind the Roth IRA and the investments behind that. Obviously, more bond-based portfolios will have a lower interest rate. Investment and equity-based ones will have a higher interest rate. But using the conservative 8% estimate, you would get $227,000 by the time you retire at 67, like we recommend. Looking at the 401k, your employer offers you a 50% match until a maximum of $4,000. That means for every dollar you put in, your employer's putting in 50 cents. So if you put in $4,000 to max that out, that's actually $6,000 in the account because of that extra 50%. That's right now invested in the bond index fund, which is a very low return fund at 1.5% for the last 10 years annually. We recommend something like a target date fund, which would be more aggressive early on, and you'd have around $1 million by retirement. This is tax deferred, meaning you can write it off now and save the taxes for later, and you can take it out until 60. Now, looking at taxes, that's why you came to us here today, and we want to acknowledge that. TurboTax has a guarantee saying if they mess up, you can get the money back. So please contact them to get that $1,500 back. We also recommend you use a CPA because the time's not worth it to learn how to do taxes. For $223 filing jointly, you can get that done by a CPA.
So now to move on to our final budget.
Now, here for our camper recommendations, we can see that we have selected a 2019 Puma for a family of 4. And what we are allocating is $120 per month for travel. What this translates into for our annual budget is 2 weeks of using this camper, a mid-range camper and a mid-price camper, and to cover other trip costs just in case. Now, even though you had mentioned that you wanted to buy the camper, we see this as a more affordable option due to Michigan's extreme weather. We can also see that cutting out some of our eating out expenses and including that groceries expenses will help you prompt a lifestyle switch to a more adventurous, healthy, and financially literate lifestyle.
So now I'm going to summarize all of our recommendations today in a finalized budget there. So you can see there, your incomes will stay relatively the same. However, we recommend that Jenna takes on an additional job as a gym assistant at the gym which Luna trains in. This is because Jenna, you've told us that you have a background in gymnastics from beforehand, as well as this can help reduce the cost of Luna's gymnastics by getting a discount by working there and supplement your income. In addition, your housing will stay the same, and we've allocated $400 a month to pay for maintenance. As you said, lots of maintenance things come up. Food and hygiene was decreased because you're eating out less. We want you to eat out less, only 1 time a week rather than 3 times. Your healthcare costs have increased because we want you to start saving towards the HSA. Your debt has also increased because we're making payments towards paying off your credit card debt because we want to make sure that gets rid of as soon as possible. Now, your transportation debt is the biggest decrease by far since we're downsizing to slightly smaller cars that are more affordable and can save you a lot of money there. Discretionary is also decreasing since we want you to start spending a little bit less money on things like your streaming services. And your retirement savings is increasing because it's important, extremely critical, to start saving at a young age, such as now, so that you have more funds for retirement later on in life. So this brings your total expenses to $9,600, significantly less than your previous budget, $800 less, and thus makes your net income $460 rather than negative.
Now with the switch, we can also see that we can allocate the $460 a month with a distribution of savings and an emergency fund. We can see that the emergency fund will be extremely important now since the house is quite old, and we want to ensure that we account for unexpected maintenance costs and other costs that arose for you and that were concerning to you. Now we can see that for our long-term income distribution, we are allocating this more to savings in order to help pay for Luna's college expenses in part, and also to help ensure that financial security remains.
Now, as the great Benjamin Franklin once said, beware of small expenses as a small leak may sink a great ship. We are here today to make sure that these leaks in your financial boat are patched and keep the boat a-sail. Thank you for listening to us. If you have any questions, please ask.
Thank you.
Like that.
Great job.
Yeah, we do have a lot of lakes in Michigan, right? I like that. So, not even content related. Did y'all put these slides together? Who's my graphic designer? Who put these?
It was like a mix of all of us.
Yeah.
Really
nice.
Thank you.
Okay, I forget the content. I'm just like the visuals. My eyes aren't watering. really clear and easy.
Thank you.
For,
Yeah.
yeah, as somebody that's seen a lot of presentations, very nice graphics. Lori, I'll start with you if
Sure.
you've got feedback. Yeah.
I'm feeling really good about my financial situation after
Yeah.
this. One question though, did you address the tax liability, the bill that we have kind of hanging over our heads?
Yeah, so looking at the tax liability, I assume you're referring to the $1,500, the $1,200 federal, the $300 state. TurboTax has a guarantee for that. They say that if anything happens, any unexpected fees happen, and you file a return with us, and it's something that we didn't account for, which in this case it looks like it is, it's an unexpected fee that TurboTax really should have taken care of. They publicly advertised, they've bragged about the fact that they have a 100% accurate expert approved guarantee. So you can contact them to get that $1,500 back, and that's easily within their terms of service, and they should be able to get that for you.
Great. And I also really like, even though I'm not sure I want to get a second job, even if we remove that line item from the budget, we still come out ahead. So thank you. I think that was very nicely done.
Y'all mentioned the Michigan Educational Trust as well as the savings program. Did you come out with a recommendation for me, or did you have a strong feeling one way or the other, or no?
Yeah, so with the credit card debt, so what our plan was to actually pay for this is we're gonna start paying for this after the credit card debt's completely gone. And this leaves us $1,400 in order to spend just for our children's education in the future.
Okay.
So when adding Luna and Nico's I guess monthly payment together, you get out to $1,100, which will cover their tuition once they reach college. And the rest of that, we're gonna put in around $300. We're gonna put that in the MESP so that they have the ability to withdraw that without paying any taxes later, and they can spend that on anything they need to.
So it's not an either or. You
Yeah.
suggest. Okay.
My camper. So I'm gonna rent the camper. Am I gonna tow the camper? Because if I got rid of my F-150 and I got rid of my Bronco, and now I'm driving a Kia and a Jeep, what am I towing this camper with, or is it like planted somewhere?
Well, the Jeep that we did get does have high towing capability, as many
okay.
Jeeps do in the past. So we made sure to account for that. And even in the case that you're not willing to like really tow something with the Jeep, that you always have the ability with the vacation expenses that we have allocated in the budget to rent another car.
And also there's a pickup option for this specific camper. So there would be a $3.5 fee per mile that you would get it to be delivered to your house. But there's also a pickup option, which is free, so you can work around that.
Good. All right. See, you even knew the curveball. I'm impressed.
There you go. So, all right. Well, thank you for your presentation, all your hard work. You can tell.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Listening to you guys.